What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of NA We Got Time. As always, I'm your host, Alex, here with another episode. We're going to keep the content rolling. We got a guy I met from Twitter, real knowledgeable guy. He covers all sports. Guy named Marshawn Powers. He's a Cleveland Browns fan, so I'll make sure y'all show him some love. Y'all show him some support. I'm going to drop his socials at the end of this video. And yeah, without further ado, let me go ahead and bring him up.
Yo, what
Yo,
up, Alex? What's the deal, man?
I can hear you now. Hey, I don't know what was going on. It sounded like an alien. I was like,
Yeah,
what's
man. I
going
don't know.
on?
I'm not sure, man.
But yeah, if you want to
No.
give a quick introduction again to the people, you know what I'm saying? Had some
uh,
technical difficulties last time we tried this.
All right. Yeah, no. So my name Marshawn Powers, man. Like you said, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised here. I've been doing, I've been covering all type of sports since like 2017, 2018. So like the past 6 years. I started out in the DMV area, so like I've always like without I always say like the DMV area is like what grew me, what molded me into where I am right now. So like I always had love for the DMV area, but like living out there, I covered JUCO, I covered HBCU football and basketball. So like CIAA, MEAC, covered both tournaments, football and basketball. I've covered uh, numerous high school tournaments here. I cover the charge now. So like man, I have a passion for covering all type of sports. I'm covering a few big things. I won't say yet in the future that's coming to Cleveland. If you know, you know. So like I'm always kind of out here, man, just covering like whatever I can get my hands on because I got a passion for it, man. So I'm trying to get to the Browns. A little difficult, but I won't say difficult because nothing is too difficult for me. A little challenging. So I'm gonna get there, man. But the fact that you had me on to talk about the Browns, man, I'm excited, man. So I'm ready to
Hell
get
yeah.
into it, man.
Well, yeah. Well, we could get straight into it with the first thing we'll talk about the starter fandom. Are you a fan of the team because of where you were born, or was that something that drew you to the team? Like what was it?
Ah, man, I'm from Cleveland. Like I'll say this: the Browns. Well, the Browns and the Guardians are the only two Cleveland teams that I like. I'm not a Cavs fan, but like, cause like the Browns are Cleveland. Like yes, the
Mhm.
Cavs won with LeBron. I ain't trying to talk about basketball, but I'm just telling you how deep it is here in Cleveland. Like
Yeah.
yes, the Cavs won. The Cavs could have won like three in a row with LeBron, right? But
Mhm.
one championship from the Browns trumps it all. Because that's how big this city is here. Like I've born and bred. I became a fan in '99. Well, I became a fan. I was born a fan. You feel me? So I was born in
Okay.
'90. The Browns left in '95. So I don't remember much about them before then. Like I can't tell you really much about the Browns before '95. Without actually
Yeah.
being a historian to the game. But like I remember everything '99, the good, the great, and the terrible. I remember
Yeah.
everything '99 till now. I remember first seeing the Browns. You know, coming back out of that tunnel, our first game back. I remember the terrible 0-16 season. I also remember one of my favorite wins ever, like to this day, was in 2008, man, when we beat the Giants. I was in boot camp
Of
in the
course.
Navy. I was in boot camp and we beat the Giants. We beat the brakes off the Giants, man. I was like one of my, to this day, that's still one of my one of my favorite games ever. Because y'all was coming off that Super Bowl, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah.
I think we beat y'all like 38-3 or something like that. That was one of my favorite wins ever to this day. But it just so happened my guy Alex is a Giants fan, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Okay. Okay, so all right, so it started early. You
yeah,
just from there. All right, so next up we're gonna go this year for the season. What were your thoughts on the season? I know things didn't go your way.
yeah.
I did make the playoffs, but give me your thoughts. What did you take away from this season? Like, what was the good, the bad? Just give me everything.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously the bad was injuries. Like I lost Nick Chubb, I lost Deshaun Watson. I lost both my starting tackles. Well, I actually lost three of my starting tackles. I lost my starting safe. I lost two of my starting safety. So obviously the bad was injuries, man. Like I didn't expect my season, you don't expect to lose that many key players in one season. You get what I'm saying?
Nah, facts.
The good was that through all of that, I can honestly say that the Browns have built some form of a culture to where we're not accepting excuses. Like guys aren't coming here for paychecks anymore. Like guys are coming here honestly to, you know, they want to win. They want to change around. They want to change something. They want to be a part of a change and have their name in the history books of something bigger than themselves. And obviously, the great is, I mean, we went to the playoffs. I mean, we went to the playoffs 2 years ago. Been through hell and hot water, been to hell and back because of the situation with Deshaun Watson and signing him. But with all of it, but with saying all of that is we fought through all of that. We fought through all of that negativity and the injuries, and we still made the playoffs. Yes, we did. We got our teeth kicked in by C.J. Stroud. And I'm not one to make excuses. We didn't have all of our players, but I mean, that hungers a lot of those key players that was there, the Myles Garrett's, the David Njoku's, the Denzel Wards, the Greg Newsoms. Those guys now, some of those guys got 2 playoff games under their belt. Deshaun Watson got 3 playoff games under his belt. So now it's like, all right, you know, I mean, it sets a tone. It sets a tone for next season that it's no
Yeah, the
BS this
expectation is
season.
probably playoffs now,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's not the. I mean, we've been the expectations is obviously going to be to win your division. Obviously, I
Yeah.
mean we haven't done it in a long time, and to make it far in the playoffs. Not just making it. We made the playoffs twice. In the
Hmm.
past 4 years, made the playoffs twice. Now it's time to win in the playoffs. Time whether that's make it to the AFC Championship, whether that's win the AFC Championship, make it to the Super Bowl. It's time to like put a stamp on the playoffs that people will remember.
Okay, so let's stay right there. You said y'all happy through all the injuries that y'all were able to make the playoffs. What are some players this year that surprised you or kind of was like, I kind of expected more? Obviously, guys who got hurt,
Right,
nothing
right,
you can
right,
do about that.
right,
But certain guys you're like, man, I was hoping you would be, top five, top three at your position, and you like,
right,
like top 10 or something like that. What is
right.
just give me like one guy on offense, one guy on defense for both.
All right, so I'm gonna start on defense, man, because defense to me is obviously. I'm actually on defense. I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give you 2 players on defense because I
Okay.
feel like these 2 guys. I'm not gonna say like they disappointed me to the point like, oh, man, you got to get off my team. But I just felt like they could have gave me more to like an All Pro level, and that's Juan Thornhill and that's
Okay.
Greg Newsom. I mean, I thought signing Juan Thornhill from the Kansas City Chiefs, like that was going to bring like that champion. I mean, yeah, it brought some championship pedigree in here, but I thought that he was also out on the mission to prove that, hey, it just wasn't the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I can ball wherever I go, and
Yeah.
I thought that with Juan Thornhill, we was going to get like a form of an All Pro. It may not have to be first team, second team All Pro, and then with Greg Newsom. Like, yes, don't get me wrong. He's a part of what I consider the best DB room in NFL this year. But there was a point in the season when Denzel Ward went down and Greg Newsom had a chance to step up and show that, hey, yes, we don't have our brother, but, this room doesn't, it don't change. The standard don't change. And against uh, against Denver, we got cooked. Against LA, we got cooked. We didn't have Denzel. So, I just think those 2 guys disappointed me a little bit, but not much to say like, oh man, you just had a bad season. It was just like my expectations of what I had for them. And then on offense, I'm going to say mm, I'm gonna just say the wide receivers outside of Amari Cooper. Like I was just disappointed. Like I expected a little bit more from my wide receivers this year. And
Mhm.
yeah, Elijah Moore has 600 yards and I think 2 or 3 touchdowns, and then nobody else outside of him was really did anything. So my wide receivers really didn't impress me this year outside of Amari Cooper.
Now, do you think that that's due to like quarterback play? Like I know Deshaun got hurt, and
Right.
didn't DTR? I think that's him.
I mean,
Didn't
yeah,
he started a couple games for y'all? You think maybe
yeah.
that
I know.
might be?
I can agree. I agree with that. That is. I mean, those guys didn't really have. that person to grow with each year, that person to grow with each week, and to get better with each week. So I could see what most people um come from on that point. But I mean, my thing is, all right, you have Flacco for 6 weeks. Like I mean, I still ain't get a 100-yard game out of some of my other receivers. So I mean, I mean, that could stem from a lot of things. Like I'm not like me and a lot of shout out to my off the clock guys too, man. I've got a major shout out to them. But me and a lot of my off the clock guys, man, when we be talking about the Browns, man, like we all come to a conclusion that we're just not like the biggest fans of our wide receiver coach. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
Chad O'Shea, don't get me wrong, he's a great football mind, what I mean? He was with the Patriots. But like my thing is like when you look at their resume, when you look at certain people's resume, it's like, all right, who did this guy mold? Like you could go to certain defensive line coaches, be like, all right, like my for instance, my DC, you could look at him, be like, all right, he was a D line coach. He got his hands on Big Albert Hainsworth, things of this nature was able to help him
Yeah,
mold. But then when you look at my wide receiver coach, you be like, all right, he was in New England. Let me see who he had over there. Oh man, he just had Julian Edelman. It's kind of like, you
yeah. Like
know,
what kind of work you really got to show me?
exactly. Like, what
Exactly.
do you have? Who do you have on your resume to show me that you kind of developed for you to be here this long? And it's kind of like, man, like I would love to go out and get like just a wide receiver coach who's proven, who can develop guys, who could take, some. Because I mean, let's be real. Like in the past, I mean, since what 2012, 13. We
Hmm.
haven't drafted a wide receiver pretty good. I think the top two receivers that we could say we drafted, obviously Josh Gordon, because he couldn't stay out of trouble. Donovan Peoples-Jones, who no longer here no more. And then the verdict is out on Cedric Tillman. But outside of that, it's kind of like slim pickings.
I
So,
know a lot of people are high on Cedric Tillman. I know he's from he came from Tennessee, correct?
yep.
Okay, yeah, because I want to say
Mhm.
Giants fans, they were kind of like, should we go get hired or go
Higher
get
than
him?
him, yeah. Yeah. And what they
Okay,
told us was that, I mean, he was better than Hyatt significantly and all like that. And I mean, it just got to where points in the season, he just didn't know. I don't know if he didn't know his playbook or what was the cause, but you could tell. I remember one game, man, he got jammed up and threw out of bounds. Like I've never seen a receiver get jammed up and thrown out of bounds, especially a guy who's 6'3",
yeah,
got some
he a
frame on
pretty
him.
big dude.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not one to write rookies off within their first year. I've always been able to get. I give guys 3 years, especially if you're a rookie. It's a lot that you got to learn about the league. You got to learn how to be a pro. You got to learn financial management. It's so much that you got to work on to be a pro that you
Yeah.
didn't have to work on being in college or in high school. So I'm always giving guys the benefit of the doubt and just reassessing them after 3 years. I still believe we shouldn't have got Donovan Peoples Jones, but that was one move that disappointed me because he wasn't having a good year. And every week it just justified to get rid of him. And we got rid of him. But I feel like he could have been our guy. But it is
Now
what it
speaking of guys, who was y'all guy? You know, my guy. You know what I'm saying?
is.
Chief and Joku. You know what I'm saying? What you think about him? You know what I'm saying? I know not necessarily you, but when y'all first drafted him, I know like one or two other Browns fans, they were like, "Oh man, we're really not seeing it." And
Right.
I feel like this year, maybe last year, he's finally like showing that, okay, this is why we paid him. This is what he was supposed to be this entire time. What
Right.
if you just want to give me your thoughts on like his role getting bigger in the offense from like start to now? Because like now I feel like he's been a pretty consistent guy for y'all. Who has to put up pretty good numbers for y'all.
Right. I mean, he came a long way, if we're being honest. I mean, look at he got drafted. He got drafted same year Miles Garrett, 2017. Him, Miles, Jabril Peppers. He went from a guy who, would drop a lot of passes to a guy who Baker Mayfield almost ended his career against the Jets in 2019 when he undercut a pass and I damn near killed a man. He broke his wrist, I believe. And then
Mm-hmm.
to when we signed what's my man from Atlanta. I forget his name, the tight end we signed from Atlanta. We signed that guy. We signed a tight end from Atlanta. He didn't turn out well. And then we're here. So I honestly feel like that, Njoku has came a long way. He's, in my opinion, easily a top 10 tight end, the best, one of the best tight ends in yards after the catch. Once you put that ball in his hand, he's too strong, for you to just bring him down easily. I mean, Ravens fans, Steelers fans can attest to that. You put them linebackers on a 1v1, it's gonna be a long day. So I think he's easily our, I'm not calling him Travis Kelce, but his role with the team has a Travis Kelce feel to it, to where he can, he's easily, you're one of your top two pass catchers. He's easily a game changer with if you can get the ball in his hands. So I think Njoku is a dog, man, and especially after what Michael Parsons said. I know it's just a little banter, in the offseason, but what Michael Parsons said to him at the at the Pro Bowl weekend, sorry, I think Njoku, his that kind of flared up his attitude a little bit, to where now, this dude is about to, we coming, man. We got us one, man. We easily got what, the second best in our division. Yeah, second best in our division, because I still think Mark Andrews up there. I think he's better than Pratt Fryermuth. So top two, top one or two in our division, and then you go. I don't think the AFC East have a better. I was still talking, bro. We still rolling.
Oh, my fault. My fault.
No,
Go ahead.
you good. I was still talking, but no, I was just saying, like, I think Njoku easily is like the top 10 tight end, bro. No, hands down, no questions asked, like all of that. I was just saying, like, I think he's at least top two in our division. I don't think the AFC East got a tight end. I don't think Don Kincaid or any of those guys is better than them. Trying to think. I don't think the AFC East got a tight end better than him.
AFC East, that would be we're gonna go.
Dolphins, Jets.
Oh no.
Yeah, none of them got a better tight end. AFC South, I don't think anybody down there got a tight end better than him. Well, Evan Ingram, uh,
Evan Ingram kind of won like this last year or so, this last like
yeah. So
year.
he's easily, bro. He's easily in the AFC alone, top three.
Oh, for sure.
Top three tight end in the AFC, bro. So we got us a dog, man. And I was just saying, like, I'm not calling him Travis Kelce by any means. I'm not comparing talents, but what I'm comparing is what Travis Kelce's role is to the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, he's one of their premier pass catchers. That's which David Njoku's role has to be with the Browns in order for us to succeed. You know?
Hell yeah. All right, so let's get into the draft. Who you looking
Okay.
at?
Man, I'm looking at receivers. I would love some way, somehow to get that Troy Franklin kid. I would love McMillan from Washington, Brendan Rice from USC. I'm down. I need some bigger receivers. I need some guys that could for sure catch with hands, some speedy guys. I'm also looking at linebackers, man. Like, we need a man coverage linebacker to put out there in the middle, to allow it Jeremiah Wusu Koromoa roam the field and just do his thing. And then you can never go wrong with looking at trenches. I think we should definitely start looking at beefing up our interior. Finding a replacement for Joel Batonio, because I mean he's not getting any younger. Finding a potential replacement if we can for Wyatt Teller, because he's almost coming up on a new contract. And obviously, if we can get lucky with finding a left tackle to challenge Wills, Jedrick Wills. That'd be dope. And then I mean, my general manager is a DB, bro. He played DB in college, DB at heart. So we getting a DB some way
Okay.
somehow. Fourth round, somewhere one of them rounds. I guarantee you, we're gonna sign the cornerback. We're gonna draft the cornerback. I mean,
Be like y'all biggest need to draft. Well, not need, but like who do you think y'all getting in? Like what position you think y'all getting in the first or second round?
we don't have a first round pick this year. This is last year. We don't have a first, and I think we don't have a fourth. Or we got one fourth. I can't remember off the top of my head. But in the second round, if we're lucky, like in the second round, man, I mean, I would go. I would try to go. I would go receiver. Like if I can, if there's a surefire receiver, like I'm talking like somebody that slipped, that's supposed to be like a higher second round, or I can move up in a second to get a guy, then I'm definitely going receiver. If I can't get receiver, linebacker or offensive line, or either linebacker, D tackle, or offensive line, one of those.
Okay, okay. Now let's go into the resigns. Who
Okay.
you who do you think y'all need to resign? Y'all will, or who you think is left out?
So the people that we need to resign for
Hmm.
this year, obviously, man, this list is long, but obviously we got guys like I feel like we'll bring back starting with Maurice Hurst. I mean, when Maurice Hurst got hurt, he was a dominant force for us. I'll bring back Sione Taki at linebacker. I will bring back Nick Harris as a backup center or as a utility guy because Nick Harris. I mean, when we lost Nick Chubb,
Hmm.
we needed a push for our run. We put Nick Harris back there at fullback, and it worked. It worked like 99.9% of the time. So I would bring back Nick Harris. I'm all for bringing back Rodney McLeod. I'm all for bringing back our punter Corey Bojorquez. Shelby Harris, a late signing that we picked up, late. I think after training camp. I'll bring him back. Zadarius Smith, I'm kind of sitting on, man. Like I
Think he
one
going?
day it's like I would love to bring him back, and then the next day it's like I seen a little bit more out of Obo Okwankwo, because it was a point at the beginning of the season where Obo Okwankwo he had like 2.5 sacks as a he wasn't even starting, and Zadarius had 1 sack, and Obo had more pressures and all of that. So I would definitely I would weigh my option on Zadarius. If we have a number that Zadarius is willing to meet, then I'll bring him back, no problem. But if Zadarius feels like, he could go out there and get like 18, 19 million, hey, I'm not doing it. So
I got you. I got you. And lastly, last topic we need to touch on. Now, obviously, with the draft coming up, free agency and all that good stuff, things may change. But as they sit right now, next season expectations, where we at with it? Obviously,
man,
health. You want guys
yeah,
to stay
yeah.
healthy.
Obviously a 100% healthy team, but man, I'm honestly looking out there. I'm looking for Deshaun. Deshaun Watson, man, like everybody, it seems like everybody just believes that this man is just going, go out there and just be a bum. I just think like the Browns don't understand financial management. We mismanaged 200 and some odd dollars on the guy, right? Like I
Mhm.
honestly believe like if it's not this year when Deshaun Watson 2024, then what year is it?
Yeah.
Like I honestly believe like if it does not get done this year, then I don't think it'll ever get done. And I feel like it'll get done this year. So, Deshaun Watson, you know, has a good year. I'm not gonna sit here and oh man, he has an all pro, whatever. If he does, that's a cherry on top. I just want a good year from him, a good healthy year, and show people that he's him. So I'm gonna say Deshaun Watson has a good year. I'm gonna say Miles Garrett has a better statistical year than he did in his defensive player of the year,
Okay.
but
Okay.
doesn't win defensive player of the year next year. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say we win our division, and then I'm gonna also say that we at least get past the divisional round. So that means making it to the AFC Championship. I didn't say we're gonna win. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
know I would love to go. I would love to see my Bourbon Street Browns in New Orleans, man. I would love to see us in New Orleans for the Super Bowl, but at least get past the divisional round, which means make it to the AFC Championship. And I think we just set another precedence for the following year, whether that be, you know, after a parade, Super Bowl parade, after being close to making it to the Super Bowl. But I just think we set a we set a precedence by all right getting to the playoffs two out of the last 3 years at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously we got our tails kicked in. Now it's like all right, we got to make the playoffs back to back years. But what do you do in the playoffs then? Do you make it past the
Exactly.
divisional round and stuff like that, and then go from there. So that's just realistic expectations.
Hell yeah. Now, before we get up out of here, you know what I'm saying? Appreciate you for your time.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. I'm gonna have it tagged in the video on YouTube, but go ahead and give out your socials, tell everybody where they can find you, and
Man,
if
so
you got anything coming up that
yeah,
that you
yeah.
can't speak on, go
Right,
ahead
right, right.
and let us know. But if not, we'll just stay tuned.
Right. So like I said, man, I mean, if you could figure out what I'm saying, what I was saying. Just follow me on Twitter at searchon_90 because I'm from Cleveland. There's some big things happening in Cleveland here very, very soon that I'll be around. So be looking forward for my coverage from that. I'm definitely about to finish up my high school season. Where the last week of the regular season starts tomorrow. So we'll be in playoff mode next week. I'll be done with that season last third week of March, and then after that, I might get my hands in something other professional. I don't know, but like I say, follow me on Twitter again at Searchon_90, on Instagram at Searchon90, Threads Searchon90, everything, and just support me, man. I'm out here just trying to help out young kids as well as just enjoy the passion of what I do, to be around sports, cover sports, and just build my name, let people know who my last name is. So that's all.
Hell yeah, Marshawn. Look, it's been a pleasure, man. Appreciate you for
Appreciate
your
you,
time.
man.
For real, for real.
Appreciate you, man, as always.
All right. Well, y'all, episode one, covering everything, just got done. Want to appreciate y'all for tuning in. This is the NA We Got Time. I'm your host, Alex, as always. We out. Peace.
Result. You. 800. Only